When it comes to discipleship, doing it is doing it, not thinking about it, certainly not pretending to do it, but really doing it. Is our form as a disciple of Jesus matched up by the reality of how we live? Or is it all a bit of a sham? No, doing it is doing it, being it is being it. We're talking reality here. Discipleship means nothing unless change matches and expresses my profession of faith. Being real with each other is an obvious mark of that change. Now, there's no such thing as a bad question when it's a genuine question. The other Judas we've been looking at was prepared to speak up when he didn't understand, and that makes his question a very good question. The 12 apostles, the 12 disciples, demonstrate a reluctance to own up, to not understanding our Lord's teaching, and they were sometimes too embarrassed to ask. It tells us that in the Gospels. They didn't understand what Jesus was saying. They didn't understand what he meant, but they were afraid to ask. Check that out in Mark chapter 9 and verse 32. Several of them did own up to doubts. Well, good for them. As well as this other Judas, there was Thomas. Remember him? Two examples of that in John 14, verse 5, and again John 20, verse 2. Thomas showed he didn't understand, and he wasn't ashamed to say so. Now, Judas's question here in chapter 14, verse 12, is better translated not as why is it that you intend to show yourself to us and not to the world, but how is it that you intend to show yourself to us and not to the world? He's viewing the situation as a Jewish man looking for the coming of the Messiah in all his kingly splendor. So he can't make out how Messiah will appear only to the disciples. As a Jewish man looking for the coming of the kingly Messiah, Judas would have expected that his coming would take the whole world by storm. Surely the idea is that every eye will see, every knee will bow. If Jesus is truly the Messiah, Judas reckoned, he must startle the entire world by revealing himself in glorious and overwhelming heavenly splendor. So if he's going to do that, how can the world miss it? No, this other Judas is genuinely puzzled, and he isn't afraid to say so. So Jesus replied, John 14, verse 23, if anyone loves me, he will obey my teaching. My Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our home with him. The word with is usually translated in. It's the simple Greek word en, E-N. And our Lord's reply is very revealing. If anyone loves me, he will obey my teaching. My Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our home in him. Now, at first sight, our Lord might appear to be sidestepping Judas's question, but in fact, he's dealing with it directly, perhaps too directly for some, because Jesus shows himself only to the disciples simply because he's revealed through his word. And it is only the disciples that love him and therefore obey his word. There's a challenge. Do you love to see Jesus? Well, there's a simple way to prepare yourself. Be devoted to his word. We'll continue with this thought next time, but for now, bye-bye.